Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Get connected, Fitchburg. Sign up for Fitchburg Connect, the city's monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Stay connected everywhere you go. Fitchburg is on your phone and your tablet and your laptop and TV. Download the app. It's free. Access Fitchburg. This is your city at your fingertips.
Everyone to the Fitchburg Common Council meeting for the August 25th, 2026 meeting. The first thing is to call to the order to the meeting. And second, please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Radafrada.
Here.
Alder Dancer Jr. is absent.
Without excuse.
Alder Gerhardt.
Here.
Alder Herbst.
Here.
Alder Jetzer.
Here.
Alder Lattice.
Here.
Alder Lepper.
Here.
Alder Maldonado.
Here.
Alder Regstead.
Here.
You do have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you. So next is item 4, public appearances for non-agenda items. And we have a mayoral proclamation. Is proclaiming September 26th as Hunger Action Month.
Whereas Second Harvest Food Bank of Southern Wisconsin reports that more than 72,000 people in Dane County, including nearly 19,000 children, experience food insecurity, meaning they lack consistent access to enough food. And
whereas food insecurity is a systemic issue that can affect anyone, often linked to high living costs, expensive housing, unemployment or underemployment, and barriers to healthcare. And
whereas hunger makes daily life more difficult, students struggle to focus in school, workers have less energy and productivity, families must choose between food and other essentials, and those with chronic illnesses face worse health outcomes. And
whereas hunger is not caused by a lack of food or individual failure, there is enough food to feed everyone in our community, but inequalities in access prevent many neighbors from getting the nutritious food they need. And
whereas organizations such as Second Harvest Food Bank and its network of pantries, meal sites, and hunger relief programs work tirelessly to close this gap, but lasting solutions require community-wide action. And
whereas the City of Fitchburg recognizes the importance of addressing food insecurity in our community, and through the Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative Grant Program, provides funding to support several local food pantries, demonstrating the city's commitment to both raising awareness and providing resources to organizations that serve residents in need. And
whereas during Hunger Action Month, we join together under the call, "We can end hunger when we all work together," recognizing that collaboration among individuals, businesses, organizations, and governments is essential to building a community where everyone has the food they need to thrive.
So now, therefore, I, Julia Radafrada, Mayor of Fitchburg, along with the members of the Common Council, do hereby proclaim September 26th as a Hunger Action Month in the city of Fitchburg, Wisconsin, and we encourage all residents to take action by volunteering, supporting local hunger relief efforts, advocating and raising awareness to ensure that no one in our community goes hungry. This is proclaimed today, August 25th, 2026. Okay, so we're going to take the picture. Lori, if you can come to the picture.
I would greatly appreciate this initiative. As you know, we have been
Can I take a picture first?
Yeah, of course.
I promise to get out of the way then. Okay, are we ready? Here we go. Thank you. Go right ahead.
Yeah, no, I think this is really an awesome initiative. This is the first that I know of where this has happened at the city level. And we are very active in Fitchburg. We have a couple mobile pantries that you have supported. The Rimrock route, very unique because we're at 3 different stops twice a month, which is, we don't do that anywhere else. But the need is so great in those particular neighborhoods. And then the Allied mobile pantry and the initiatives we do there also twice a month with that are supported by the city. So I love your statement about encouraging the city of Fitchburg employees and citizens to volunteer, to reach out. There are a lot of opportunities to do something. So we're very grateful for this effort.
No, thank you. Thank you. This
Thank
is for
you
you.
very
Okay.
much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, next I need a motion for the consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, all those, any question, comment? Here none, all those in favor of the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so we are moving to the administrator's report.
Good evening, everyone. Several announcements regarding some upcoming events and activities. Tomorrow, the 26th at 11:30 a.m. Will be a ribbon cutting at Gigi's Playhouse, located just down the road at Lacey Road and Botanical Drive. There will be a public information meeting on the County Highway MM Bike and Pedestrian Underpass on Thursday, August 27th. From 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. At the fire department located on South Scion Road. The Redeemer City Church is having a neighborhood festival at the New Fountains apartment complex this Saturday, August 29th from 4 to 7 p.m. If there are any community members who are interested in being considered for serving on the Comprehensive Plan Update Work Group, they may apply for consideration for that role on the city's website, and applications need to be submitted no later than August 30th. The movie night at Southdale Park that was rescheduled from July will be held on Monday, August 31st. 5:30 p.m. there will be a community meal, and at 7 p.m. will be the movie in the park. Utility work has begun on the Fitrona Road reconstruction project, and that work is anticipated to continue through the end of November. And tree clearing related to the project is anticipated to start tomorrow, and that is anticipated to last a couple of weeks. Summer is, unfortunately, at least in my opinion, coming to a close. That does mean that the splash pad, the last day of operation will be Monday, September 7th, which is Labor Day. The splash pad will be closed after Labor Day and will get winterized in advance of the upcoming colder weather. And that also means summer is ending, that our seasonal parks maintenance staff, most of them are all high school or college students, and now have been returning back to their respective educational endeavors. And then finally, some information regarding the August 11th primary. There were approximately 6,400 votes cast at polling locations, approximately 2,600 votes cast via absentee, with a total voter turnout of 47%. Any questions for me?
Any question, comment? Okay. So next we move to the mayor's report, and I have a couple of things to share with you. As you know, we continue with the community listening session for Fitchburg residents. Our next one is for District 1. It's going to be September 24 from 6 to 8 p.m. With Alder David Herbst and Alder Joe Maldonado. And it's going to be at the Blue Plate Catering, 5302 Verona Road. So, so this is coming in a couple of weeks. And also, we started with the 2027 budget process today. So, and continue this week. So I will be busy with the budget. Also, the 2027 budget survey is still open until August 31st. We have received around 500 answers. I want to say thank you to everyone who participated in the survey. You may mention the Gigi Playhouse tomorrow. The other thing, last week I attended the Chief Executive Workshop organized by the League of Wisconsin Municipality, and I had the experience to networking and share some session with mayor from every corner of Wisconsin. And it was we have great discussion. We discussed a topic like, housing. Also, we have a session that they discussed the consolidation from Wauwatosa and West Ely Fire Department, the two mayors that were involved, and they share the benefit, the pros, and the process. This is still going on, this process. So it was nice to hear from them. We also have all the session to discuss what are the new topics in every municipality, and it seems like is what?
I could take a guess.
Yes.
Data centers, funding,
Beside that.
municipal funding.
No, e-bikes.
Oh,
and
that was my third guess.
So something that I think every municipality and village is having some issue, and the idea is to work with the league, the league, so to have more like a state-wide policy for all of us, instead of every municipality implementing their own ordinance or regulations. So this is something that is impacting a lot of the municipalities besides data center, funding, and all of that. But it was surprising. Okay, so that's it for me. Oh, and the other thing, I want to congratulate the police department for another successful community night out, especially Captain Logan Brown. He's kind of in charge of organizing the event. And I think, it's like every year it's getting bigger. So I want to say thank you, and every department that also was there helping. And also I want to say congratulations and thank you for all you did from the August primary and your team. So we are very proud of our clerk department. So, okay, that's it. So next, what is next? So we are moving to commission and committees report. We are going to start with Plan Commission.
I'll start with the resolutions. I'll move approval of ordinance 2026-025, approving rezone request RZ 266126 by Tammy McCullough, agent for EJ Plesko and Associates, Inc., to rezone property from PDD SIP Plan Development District Specific Implementation Plan to PDD GIP Plan Development District General Implementation Plan to allow for a multifamily residential development on property along Traceway Drive, Lot 1, CSM 15059.
Second.
And we do need to do an amendment, but it wasn't amended in plan, so we'll have to do it. Should I start with the amendment?
Yeah, you could do that.
I'll just start with the amendment quickly. There was a mistake. In the approval, we need to change it from, I need to move to amend to change 29 units per acre to 26 units per acre. The current proposed density is 26.5 dwelling units per acre, so it's just an error there, going from 29 to 26 units per acre.
Second.
Okay, good. Okay, what is this, Gabriela?
Should we vote on the amendment quick and then we can dive in?
Sorry to approve. Oh, so all those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit long, but I wanted to summarize a very long conversation at Plan Commission. So in terms of the staff report, this project, again, it's the PDD GIP, so there's another step of the SIP coming. But this GIP is for 2 4-story buildings, 140 units total across the 2 buildings, 70 units each. and it is an affordable project, 30 to 80% of area median income. There'll be 2 phases. They're going to need separate SIPs because phase 1 is the only one with the financing. So phase 1 would be next step would be an SIP for phase 1 for 70 units of affordable housing, and then there would be a separate one that would come later when phase 2 is ready. The phase 2 building has not been designed and does not have WIDA financing like the current building. There was an approval on this several years ago. The old approval had underground parking. They had ground floor walkout and just generally like what the staff considered better urban design than this current one. Also, the orientation was to Traceway Drive. The current development does have an urban feel with a private boulevard. All the parking is surface parking. There's none underground. It's a $22.5 million investment in the property. The assessed value is anticipated at $9.2 million, and the questions elucidated that that's actually because it's an affordable housing project, so it obviously has a slightly lower valuation. It also is within the TID, that's notable. And then some staff thoughts, they thought that this was pretty low dwelling units per acre compared to other things on Fishhatchery Road, and they would prefer a higher density, and obviously just noted that there's a lot more that would be needed to get completed before the SIP submittal, which does happen with other projects as well. The applicant did come to give testimony as well. David Gevers from EJ Plesco talked about the work over the last 20 years. They did build the High Line, which is dedicated senior affordable housing, which I think most of us are familiar with, just right next door. They also dedicated the land for Hastahochi, and they used to own the Fairways and the Pines, but were recently sold to a different company. The 2022 project was pulled because of economic forces, inflation, and interest rates. 2022 was obviously a complicated time, and the final project was over budget, so they pulled it even though it was pretty far along. And the High Line was their second affordable project and their first experience with LIHTC funding, and so it opened during the 2020 pandemic, which created some challenges, but they learned a lot in terms of affordable housing. For this project, it's a 5-acre site, and it is an affordable project, but it's a family. It's not age-restricted like the High Line is. The WIDA did award tax credits for the phase 1 of this project, the 70 units, in June of this year. He addressed the density issue, said that he would prefer higher density because there's better economics with the higher density, but the WIDA parameters in this case were driving the design. Said that they were one of only 4 projects in the Madison area to receive 9% tax credits from WIDA. They typically restrict the units almost as low as 40 in many cases, but they were able to get it up to 70, which they were proud of. And he did point out that the 2022 project, in a completed state, was 180 units, and this, when both phases are complete, would be 170, so pretty close. But 70 units per building. Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Thank you, Bill. This one is 140 versus 180 with the old approval. And then addressed the parking issue. Said the affordable projects need to fill the gap between. You're not making money on these projects unless you kind of have financing sources. So the tax credit program fills the gap, but more support is needed. So he said they can't use new market tax credits because it's not in the census tract. They will apply for TID funding through the city, but they also are not taking advantage of Dane County money because some of the requirements that they can't comply with. And just said that the underground parking is more expensive than they're capable of. They think it would cost around $2 million to create underground parking for this project. And then we talked a little bit about the design, but the entry at the backside is in the rear of the building, so it's supposed to be screened from Traceway Drive, and there's some accessible entry that's from the back that will be, no stairs to get into the building. Then we moved into the discussion by the Plan Commission. There was a lot of discussion about the parking being insufficient, and also the fact that the parking was surface and not underground. Lots of concern about if it's a family building, maybe you have 2 parents, maybe both have cars. It was pointed out later that there's also good bus service to this unit, but just discussion on that. And then also just many of the council or the committee members rather mentioned the fact that the density was low as being a problem, that it's not high density enough for an area like this that has bus transit that is in an urban corridor. And also uncertainty about the second building, the fact that the first building has WIDA tax credits and is designed, but that the second building is just a theoretical building at this point. And although the GIP is for the entire property, it's for both buildings, the next approval for the SIP will only be for the first phase one because the phase two does not have either a design or WIDA financing at this point. The boulevard that is going to be built is going to be a private road. It is not going to be publicly dedicated and would be built in its entirety in phase one. And then a discussion a little bit about whether or not this could set a precedent for surface parking versus underground parking for affordable buildings. The final vote was 4-3. So it was a split vote, but just wanted to give the full summary and feel free to start the discussion.
Open now, so we have a resident registered to who wishes to speak in opposition of this. So now now you can come. David, your turn. No, yeah.
David Haight, 5855 Woods Edge Road. So I'm against the approval. I'm not against the project. In fact, from 84 to 86, I lived right around the corner on Leopold Way, and my oldest daughter lived in the first 2 years of her life in the walk-in closet. So I do want to note, as Council President said, that it was 4-3. There was a lot of discussion. And 4-3 indicates it's not baked yet, and there's a lot of uncertainty. That's really not where you want to go into a zoning situation with a lot of uncertainty. And there's no particular time pressure that I'm aware of here, that it's got to happen right now, that there isn't time to make sure that everything's buttoned up and laid down. And that's my big issue, and there's, process behind this. So when you look at zoning, it has to be, you certainly have a lot of discretion in zoning. It's a pure legislative act, but nonetheless, you have to make sure that you meet your own criteria that are in the ordinances. And so Chapter 22 says the council can't consider a GIP unless the Plan Commission Secretary has signed a statement that the documentation is complete and accurately reflects the Commission's recommendation. But the staff memo says that the narrative is inconsistent and there were some issues here and requires clarification. It says that the understanding is 440 units, and with time, and some amount of time, this should be able to be shaken out. But you don't want to approve something for which you can't give yourself and the public an assurance of what's going to be happening, at least from the theoretical perspective. It's always the case that financing can fall through, et cetera, et cetera. The arithmetic, well, it says that the recommended condition C says a minimum density of 29 units per acre. And 5.2 acres, a little calculation from me, it says that's 151 units. And third, state law, 66-1013K, requires the zoning amendment be consistent with the comprehensive plan. The statutory definition of consistent with is furthers and does not contradict. The staff wrote that this density may not adequately support objective 2.1 of growing Fitchburg 2030. The memo's conclusion is generally consistent, but that's not what the law says is. And ask whatever you decide that, you need to make a finding as to consistency. That's your job here, is to actually state it is consistent. And then talk some about parking, so I won't take a lot of time there. But obviously parking is an issue, and maybe with some extra thought that the parking can be addressed. So thank you.
Thank you, David. So next, I don't know, we have the developer, David Gervers, and the architects, Tammy and McCullough and John Barak. So if you can, present the project, and then I will open to the council.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me here tonight. Like Julia said, my name is David Gevers. I am Executive Vice President of EJ Plesko and Associates, and also on faculty in the Department of Real Estate and Urban Land Economics at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. We had a long discussion at Plan Commission, which I think Gabriella very well encapsulated. I was very impressed with your note-taking. We talked about lots of things. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I don't want to take up a lot of your time. A couple things I want to just point out quick in response to the gentleman's.
Again?
What's that?
Good. Just sitting in a council meeting.
Oh. Dave, you're not muted.
Sorry. Okay.
All right. As long as I'm not the only one hearing that. So a couple of quick things. As far as time, right? So we are kind of short on time. We're doing this on an expedited basis for a reason, and that reason is because WIDA has a deadline of November 30th to have all your financing and your entitlements and everything kind of ready to go. Everything doesn't have to be 100% documented in terms of having your loan documents all finalized and everything, but that is a hard deadline, that November 30. So everything we're doing now as it relates to the GIP and the SIP and moving through the process, and obviously in the discussions we're having about TIF, it is time sensitive. I think I might take a little bit of a different perspective on the vote from Plan Commission. Obviously, it was a very close vote. I'm not used to having such close votes, but I understood it. It's hard, right? I mean, the housing decisions that we have to make for the community are challenging. In staff's comments, and I appreciated that the planning staff supported this project at the end of the day, in their report, identified a lot of the policy objectives laid out in the comp plan and in the other policy documents from the city. And no single project is going to be able to satisfy every single one of those policy objectives. We are not attempting to do that. What we are attempting to do is create high-quality, affordable housing for this community. We're doing that through the Section 42 Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program that WIDA dictates. They change the rules every 2 years. It's very competitive. The fact that we were only one of only 4 projects in the entire Madison MSA to receive tax credits in this latest round was a real coup. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. In response to the uncertainty, I would just say that I think some of the members on Plan Commission were torn. They agree that Fitchburg needs more affordable housing, that we want to provide that housing for residents. But they have other objectives that they're trying to accomplish, and I understand that. I mean, me personally, I'm all about density. Like I said at Plan Commission, nobody wants to put more units on this site than I do. The more units we put on the site, the more valuable the land is. As far as it relates to the amendment, there was a calculation error in the original document that was submitted, the original GIP document from our architects. Nothing changed about the quality or the density of the project. It was always 140 units in 2 different phases. The amount of land that we're using stayed the same. It was just that the math was incorrect. So that is correcting that in terms of the total dwelling units per acre. What I can tell you is that, the project that we tried to do back in 2022 was a market rate deal. So very different economic profile, very different approach to those projects, particularly as it relates to parking and density. But what I can tell you is that we're at 140 units, and that project was 180 units. The original use for this site actually had just 3 24-unit buildings on it. So kind of in our view, we're going from 76 units and we're upzoning now to 140, so almost a 2-fold increase in density. Our approach to the site, and again, I tend to disagree with staff in terms of how it approaches Traceway. The original building was once long edifice all along Traceway. In this, we've broken it up into 2 different buildings. We put the boulevard in the middle, so it has a more walkable, more urban city feel to it. We still think that we're addressing Traceway. from an urban standpoint, from a walkability standpoint. We have a lot at stake, right? We own the High Line across the street, right? So we want that to have a good feel and a nice approach to it. I think that is everything that I wanted to address.
No, that's fine.
But I'm happy
Yeah.
to answer any questions. So thanks again.
So I will open now to the Common Council for comments. So who is going first? Jake.
Can you just explain to me what the concerns are with the parking being predominantly surface versus underground?
I think it's just for an urban building like this. I think the preference typically is to have some of the parking underground, to kind of create more of an urban design. And a lot of buildings that have been built in the region of a similar nature have had underground parking.
Okay, so it's not necessarily the 1.1
It's in the
spaces.
memo.
There was some concern by a member of the Plan Commission in that regard, but
Okay.
I don't
'Cause
think
the other
that's
ones
out of
have-
realm of what people do with for parking.
No, the other thing is there is in the memo that Diana put together. Where is it's coming? So we are also, I don't know, all the latest development that came through this body, we are asking them to have underground parking. And some of them, they are also workforce housing. And so if you look at that table, you can see which are the market rate and the affordable developments and which one has covered parking and how many covered parking they have. So you can see that the surface parking is pretty small compared to the covered one. So this is one we want to be consistent, with all the developers that they bring forward a development here, a project that, with the parking. So.
Would it be possible for me to address the parking issue as well, or I can wait?
You can wait. Okay. But you want to ask a question to him? Okay.
Oh, yeah, if he wants to extrapolate on that.
What's that?
If you want to
Yeah, you can go. Okay, yeah, you can
please
answer.
do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that you put that chart up on there. That chart was part of planning staff's report. We talked about it a bit at Plan Commission, but just for some clarification, the blue section there at the top of the report there lists fairly recent developments in this submarket, so this North Fish Hatchery Road area. All of them are market rate projects. So this is the whole thing is a chart of the projects that have underground parking. So all of those are market rate, right? Again, a totally different economic standpoint, except for one, which is High Line, which is our project. The reason we were able to put underground parking in that project is a couple fold. One is that High Line, though it was a Section 42 low-income housing tax credit project, it was financed through a different program. It was a 4% tax credit. In the light tech world, it gets a little complicated, but it's a slightly different program. So it encompassed 4% state tax credits, 4% federal tax credits. It had housing trust fund dollars from the city as sort of a third mortgage, and then we had the TIF from the city. So there was sort of like a smorgasbord of financing on that. We made the decision like way back when we were underwriting that project that we were going to actually pull the cost of the parking out of the eligible basis. So by eligible basis, it's just that's what the tax credits are based on. All right. When you pull it out of the eligible basis, we still have to pay for it somehow through that whole financing structure. But you don't generate tax credits on it. And then, because you didn't use tax credits for it, you can charge for it. Otherwise, with affordable projects, you can't charge extra costs. Like you can't charge for storage, you can't charge for parking, like all that stuff, right? It's all sort of inclusive in that capped affordable rent. So we did that because we thought, hey, we'll have underground parking, it'll be this great amenity, we'll charge for it, we'll get some of that cost back. And unfortunately, what the reality here now, 5-6 years later, is that we opened charging about $50 per month per stall, and we've never been full on the underground parking. The folks who are living there just don't want to pay. Our 30% renters we can't charge them for it. We use the parking as concessions. So like there's been a lot of senior affordable built here in like the last 2 years. And so we've been using the parking as sort of a concession tool. So even though we're at 75% occupied in the parking garage itself, not all of that is paying. So, and then as far as our current rents, we're still only charging $50 a month. So, 6 years later. So that is not a good financial outcome. And again, just from the financing standpoint, it's really challenging to kind of put that together, that cost. So like they said, it was about a $2 million expense to build underground parking. It's just really expensive. In the green section of that chart, a couple of things to point out. So these are all affordable projects throughout the city of Fitchburg. Some things to note is that the first two projects are from 2019 and 2021 respectively. What happens in the tax credit world is that the program changes every 2 years. So WIDA has this QAP process, and then every 2 years, all the rules associated with how they award the credits changes. So they would have submitted under a very different regime than us. And also the pricing on the tax credits changes quite a bit based on what's happening macroeconomically and in tax policy. So what they were able to get by taking those tax credits and then selling them to get the money needed to build the project, they had a much higher conversion rate on those tax credits. So they were able to generate more money by selling those credits. For the two other ones there, the one that it looks like it was approved in December of 2025, that one, it lists 180 units, only 80 of them are affordable. The other one is a market rate component. They're also taking about $8 million in Dane County housing funds. And so is the last one there, which also uses some attached garages, which is a different component. But they both take Dane County housing funds. We are intentionally avoiding that program because those Dane County housing funds come with certain requirements. Those requirements include you can't deny for previously homeless. You have to have set-asides of a certain number of units for previously homeless. You can't deny for criminal record. You can't deny for no rental experience or landlord reference. The developer is also required to provide social services for the property. Now, I'm not saying that that is a bad thing, that, obviously there is a demand for that. It's just not something that we are willing to take on. You've heard about projects, especially in Madison, where they've had sort of previously homeless apartment projects get built, and the level of operational expertise and oversight that you need to have is just not what we're proposing for this project.
Okay. Other questions? Bill.
Yeah, so I'm glad you went into all that detail about the parking. I guess it kind of underscores just how expensive car ownership is, which is why I wish we had more units here where we do have a shopping center right next door and a park right next door and 2 bus routes right next door. And you mentioned that you want more density as well. Can you go into some detail as to how you landed on the 30 to 80% rather than, for instance, if you had 175 units and went 40-60, then you'd have the same 70 affordable units and you'd have another 105 market rate. Why couldn't you do that? Because that I would wholeheartedly endorse.
You're talking about having a mixed income with market rate?
Correct.
So that's a great question. The challenge comes into play, and again, this isn't like the way I want this project to be, but we have to operate within the WIDA parameters to maximize our points, to be competitive, to win the award. So it's like a Rubik's Cube, okay? The reality of the current tax credit program for 9% is that WIDA disincentivizes you to provide market rate units in the same project. And they do this in a couple of ways. So for example, they cap the number of the amount of tax credits that you can actually take. And I don't know why they do that, but I think it has to do with they're trying to spread it out into more places. So in order to maximize the tax credits, which we need, right? We know we already have a gap that we're talking to the city about, right? So we're trying to maximize those. You need to have affordable units. When you don't have an affordable unit in that project, then you're missing out on potential tax credits to help you finance it. So the program incentivizes you to have 100% affordable in your project to maximize those tax credits. So that's on the WIDA side of things. On the financing side of things, when we go and we receive these tax credits and then we sell them, right, to a tax credit investor who becomes a partner in the deal, that's how it functions, they view having market rate units negatively. They see it as additional risk. It requires additional compliance because now you're mixing sort of your market rate and your affordable units, so there's like a higher degree of compliance, which makes them nervous. And the result of that is they don't price your tax credits as competitively. So the amount that they'll pay you per tax credit drops. When that drops, that means we get less money out of the tax credit program, which means our gap goes up, which makes the project unfeasible. I think when we did Highline, our tax credit rate was like 80, it was definitely north of 80. I want to say it was like somewhere between 83 and 87 cents on the dollar. So the way the program works is you get like 10 years of tax credits, a certain amount every year. You do like a discounted cash flow, and then that is what the investor is willing to pay you for those tax credits. But that ratio, 87 cents on the dollar, is much different than what we're hearing today, which is like in the 70s. Again, this is something that's like completely out of our control. It's just what the market is doing right now. The challenge is that if we do anything to further compress that conversion, it just makes the project that much more infeasible. So as much as I would love to put like as many units as possible here, it's just not possible within the parameter. And so the way that I would look at it is, yes, maybe it's not 180 units, but 140 is still pretty dense. You think about the number of residents that you'll have there that can use the BRT, who can use the bus lines, who are right on the bike path. And especially now that this is a family project, we're going to have families that are immediately adjacent to Hastahochi. And I think that is going to be a good outcome for how much that space gets activated. So again, it's a choice, right? It's a compromise.
That's it? Do you have anything else?
One more question. You said the presence of the additional roadway in the form of that boulevard makes it more walkable. Explain how car infrastructure makes it more walkable.
Sure. So in a former life, I was an architect, and when I was in school, I had the opportunity to intern with an architect and planner, Stefanos Palazoidis, and his wife, Elizabeth Mole. And they were some of the original founders of the Congress of New Urbanism, if you've heard of that. But they're basically the group that was formed, 30, 40 years ago that was out there trying to convince cities to create more walkable communities, exactly what you're talking about. And so that entire time that I worked there, I worked almost primarily on street sections. Because on these new projects that they were planning, or if they were going into communities and providing planning services, one of the biggest focuses was just on, okay, what does that street feel like in section, meaning if you cut it down the middle, right, what does that look like? So comparing the heights of the buildings with the width of the sidewalk and the landscaping and then the street, et cetera, creating that sort of urban corridor that people feel comfortable walking down. And so, yeah, it's not this big, huge, massive, Midtown Manhattan building there, but I think it is going to create a nice scale, a very walkable scale. And then if you look at that boulevard, I mean, it's not this big, huge, wide boulevard, but it does have that landscape boulevard, portion down the middle where you're going to have large trees that grow over time, and so yeah, and I can get more into the design if you want to, but that just from my experience and also breaking, I mean, it's a very, very wide parcel at Traceway, and so breaking that into actual like sort of city blocks, I believe is much more walkable. It's one of the things I really love the High Line, but one of the things I'm most disappointed by is that it's such a long edifice on Traceway. I would have loved to see that broken up more.
We have an online question. Dave, go ahead.
Just a couple of things. I'm fine with the density. I have a question though. You know, I realize the underground parking is more expensive. Did you evaluate, you know, the stormwater, you know, is based on impervious surface. You know, if you have a more, did you evaluate what it's going to cost you additional stormwater for additional impervious surface versus underground? And second, when this first came through, we had a lot of debate. You know, the bike path goes along Traceway, and we made it a certain width, and there was discussion, need to be wider, this or that. Does this change anything? I'm fine with the bike path how it is, but I'm just curious about those two things.
Sure.
Yeah.
I respond. So to your first question, yes, the stormwater changes in stormwater management have and costs have grown. Now I don't quote me on this, but I believe that the requirement is you have to satisfy the needs of a 200-year flood. Am I right on that? Nice. You know, so managing the stormwater is a big deal. What we've done on this site is we've created these bioswales on either side to manage that water. It's not going to be a standing, you know, detention pond or anything, but it'll look like a prairie that when there is a big, huge rain, it will fill with water and then slowly disperse it into the system. Lots of different ways to manage stormwater. That's a very effective way to do it. At the High Line, we did an underground containment system just because of how constrained that site was. That's more expensive. But both of those pale in comparison to the cost of underground parking, which is like $25,000 to $40,000 a stall. Just think about it this way, you know, you're grading to create drainage the way that you want it to be, and you're putting in the appropriate devices in there to make sure to manage that water versus digging down 20 feet and pouring a building's worth of concrete, you know, into that space. It's a very different cost paradigm.
And the second, about the bike path.
Oh yeah, the bike path, the proposed bike path, because I don't believe it's there right now, but the proposed bike path is included in the design. It's I believe it's a 10-foot wide asphalt path. Okay. So that will be included.
Thank you. And Logan.
A couple questions here. One of them is, what are your plans, if any, for that kind of back part of the lot that is right now, it looks like a surface parking lot for a different apartment building? One of the things that stood out to me about this is it is a approximately 5-acre site, but if you look at the grading plan here, about a 15-foot increase from the edge of your parking to that upper level. So that's some of that acreage isn't necessarily all that usable based on the current plans. So I'm curious what you're looking at for future use.
Yeah. So that's exactly the type of stuff that we're looking at as far as the SIP is concerned. You know, like kind of digging into more of that. We've had to make some adjustments, which you'll see next month, in terms of because there's a lot of undergrounds along the east property line that we need to kind of pull back from. As we continued the design of it, the site design. The existing parking lot, so if you can see on the site plan, you can see the outline of the property line. And I think it's covered over, but yeah, there is a portion of that parking lot which is on our property. As part of the sale to the new owners of the Pines and the Fairways, you know, we obviously retain the rights to do what we want with that. They understand that and know that. And from a parking standpoint, it's a non-issue because that parking was used for buildings that were originally torn down back in 2007 on the site that we're talking about right now. So that parking will be removed. And then there's an old shed there, which again is also on our property, and that will be removed as well. So as far as what we're looking for that area is, well, are we going to need it to relocate some of the parking off of that east property line? That's a possibility. Landscaping, one of the issues that came up in Plan Commission was having some outdoor seating areas. So that's a possibility for it as well.
Okay, any other question?
I still like one
Okay, yeah,
more.
go ahead.
I was also going to ask then, kind of going back to your phasing and kind of the logistical challenges with WIDA, do some of those negatives, for lack of a better term, when it comes to kind of mixing market rate with affordable housing still come into effect if, for example, the second building here on Lot 2, if you don't qualify for the WIDA tax credits for that, if you convert that to a market rate and or make it 6 stories instead of 4, is it looked at holistically as this is one project, or is this looked at as 2 separate buildings that are kind of twins of each other here?
Yeah, so from WIDA's perspective, they are only thinking about the first phase, 70 units, right? That's what they received in the application. That's what they awarded the tax credits for. Obviously, when we submitted the application, they understood that these were going to be mirrored buildings and that we would be coming in at a future point to submit the second phase. So from their perspective, they're just considering the 70 units. So it's, if we decide at some point in the future, like, okay, the affordable program changed to the extent that we can't make it work, or we can't find the gap funding we need to make that second project work, then yeah, it could be a market rate problem, a market rate project without any issue, at least as it relates to WIDA. So that wouldn't be a problem. And as far as this was one question that came up at Plan Commission, was just in terms of the likelihood of receiving that award for the second project. So anecdotally, I think WIDA likes to see continued phases of projects that were successful, that they've already given tax credits on, that get built. I think from WIDA's standpoint, what they really hate to do is give out tax credits and then have the project not get built. So I think that gives us anecdotally an advantage. I also so we're working with Baker Tilly on our application and interface with WIDA, and they ran, it gets back to the way the program works, but every 2 years they change the rules. And so this next round, because we plan to submit the second phase in November, will be under the same rules as the one we just went through. And so Baker Tilly was able to run it through their model. It came back with a very high score under the current program. So we're at, it's 94 points. And so, that's really strong in terms of a range of potential projects for that November application being somewhere between 62 and 99. So we feel pretty confident about it.
Can I go to Mike and then come back? Oh, you can do, okay.
The last one I had was, do you anticipate coming to the city for tax increment financing, since this is within, I believe, TID 10? And if so, do you know roughly what that could look like, as far as if you were to ask for additional TIF for the underground parking with this?
Yeah, so our gap, we're early in the process, so we're trying to go through all this and do everything kind of in an orderly way, but we have engaged with the city's financial consultant, Ellers. They have our information. They're looking at the financial aspect of it right now. But yeah, we have a specific idea of what that TIF requirement is. It's just over $2 million. It's fair to say that if underground parking was needed in this location, that would be another $2 million. Mm-hmm. Just give you a sense of the scale.
Okay, Mike.
All right. Question on, so you have said you wanted more density. I mean, I'm not a WIDA expert, but is there a reason you couldn't have applied for the 4% program with a larger building on this site?
Yeah, I don't have a real good answer for that, but that's what we looked at first. Just because we know that program, we were prepared for it. That's what we were hoping to do, and it didn't score. So we had to shift away from that.
And then I just want to confirm, so the new rules for WIDA are, from what I understand, disincentivizing Dane County, more or less, for the next cycle, in the sense that they are creating a rural program that is, allowing more points for rural properties and things like that.
Sorry.
So I just wanted to confirm that you are confident that you are applying for the second building under the exact same rules of which you applied this building.
Yeah, so the QAP, which is basically like their acronym for the way the program runs and how they divvy out the points, okay? That changes every 2 years. So the program that we plan to submit for in November is the same 2-year window of what we just submitted this past December and received the awards on. So yes, I do feel confident in that. As far as like WIDA's policy on rural or Dane County, et cetera, that I don't really have any information on.
Yeah, it's going to be more competitive. The next cycle. This is what we heard.
The next QAP or the next round?
The next round, I don't know.
I think you might mean the next QAP.
Yes, I'm afraid the next QAP.
Yeah, so we'll be on, our application will be on the current QAP.
Okay.
That's my understanding, at least.
Okay.
Continue.
And what is the TIF request going? What is it covering for the project?
So the long and short of it is, right, so we're building a market rate building, right, from a cost standpoint and from a feature standpoint and unit, quality and all that stuff. And that has a certain expense with it. But at the end of the day, our rents are capped, and we're, the way the project is 30 to 80% of county median income, and then the rents are commensurate with what the income levels are. So at the end of the day, the value of that building is less than the cost, right? Substantially. So the only way that that anyone would ever try to build affordable housing is if there was some mechanism to cover that gap. And that is covered primarily by the tax credits. Yeah. What's that?
This is what I said. I think the question that Micah is trying to ask is, I don't know if for this conversation or not, for the future is, if you're getting the tax credit to cover the gap, why do you need TIF assistance?
Right. So the tax credits, and this gets into the WIDA stuff that is confusing at times, right? But the amount of tax credits that you can generate on each project is limited. So they don't, the way I understand it is that your tax credits that you can request are based off of the cost of the building, but they don't want you, for whatever reason, to request the maximum amount of tax credits. Because if you do, they reduce your points. So you have to be off of the amount that you can go for, and then there's other stipulations in terms of what the maximum amount that they'll give for each project. So long story short is that we're at the maximum amount of tax credits that we can generate for this project, and then there's still a gap. And if we were in a qualified census tract, which would be very meaningful, there would be other sources of funding. So you probably have heard about affordable home loan bank programs and other things that are out there that we could go and go after, but just because of where this site is, and it's baffled me for 20 years why it's not in a qualified census tract, but there is a gap.
So this project would not be financially feasible if we did not also approve your TIF request, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep, that's absolutely right. Yep.
Did you attend one of our development meetings to present this project? We have a meeting every Tuesday, the development team. Do you come to those meetings?
I don't believe so. We did have a neighborhood meeting,
But no, you didn't come
And we
to...
had a
Okay.
pre-application meeting with staff, but yeah, I know we didn't attend the development
Okay.
meeting.
So here's my concern. So I understand the trade-off is essentially we need affordable housing badly in this community. And to accomplish that, we're trading the land use that we would prefer on this site. What concerns me about the TIF request, and we will have to talk about this when the TIF request comes, I understand that, but is what you told me earlier is that the value of your tax credits is less than it was a year or two ago. And what I feel like we are being asked to do is provide TIF to make up the value of your tax credits from a financial standpoint, while also accepting surface parking and density that doesn't even meet the minimums. And yeah, and so it becomes a struggle. I guess I'm not asking you to respond to that. I'm just a comment. I have one, sort of positive question. There's 20 parking spots in the boulevard. Is that correct, from looking at this?
Correct.
Did you ever consider making that a pedestrian boulevard and having a different entrance to the parking lots from the parking lot side and actually truly making it a pedestrian walkway for residents?
We didn't. Originally, that was the circulation, and then we had some additional exits, drive aisles where you see the fire truck exit. Staff came back to us and said, "Hey, we want you to reduce the amount of impervious area here, and we don't need that second drive aisle." We didn't want it either. We had just put it in there because we were presuming that the fire department was going to require it. So we removed that other drive aisle. So right now, that's the only entrance into the property, is that boulevard. If we had more than one entrance, or if we moved the entrance somewhere else, then there's a possibility that could be. But I think what's nice about that, and it's kind of hard to see on there, right? But the fire trucks, they don't need like a full street, right? They just need a surface that they can drive over if they need to go out, the way, as opposed to trying to back up from a property. That's typically a requirement. And the goal of that is that's going to be more of like a multi-purpose path. So in terms of like pedestrians can use that, and it'll have a different aesthetic than if it were just like a street. So, but as far as like the boulevard, no.
Okay.
And I might just add to that real quick that as far as the funding with TIF is every affordable project requires additional funding, and many of them and most of them require TIF. And then if they don't have, if they are in a qualified census tract, there are other resources out there, but it's pretty much part of the affordable housing world that you.
No, and I totally understand that, and I agree with that. It's just that we are then providing TIF and also making compromises on every other part of the design, in which, it's the combination of those two things that is giving me pause. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is the world of affordable housing. It's tough. There's trade-offs.
I have a question. There is another entrance to the building, isn't it?
There's an entrance on Traceway, and then there's an entrance on the north side of the building too.
Where north side?
Yeah, so
No,
right
I know,
there.
but no. Say for truck, for the fire truck to get in. You have that one too, isn't it? That one.
We provided a fire lane on both sides with porous paving.
Okay. Okay.
And because the planning with our pre-application meeting with staff, they were concerned about the number of driveway accesses and the bike trail and the conflict.
So practically, it's like okay. Okay, but there is for emergency. Okay.
Correct, and it'll visually look
Yeah,
different from like a typical
Yeah, I know. Okay.
drive.
Gabriela, and then I'm gonna say my piece.
Yeah, I wanted to share my personal thoughts because obviously what I did before was just summarizing the conversation and plan. I will say that I do believe the members of the Plan Commission were torn. There were some people that felt confident in their vote, but I would say the majority were not certain about where they stood at the end of that conversation. So I think that's an accurate description. But I will just say that I also work for an affordable housing developer. It is very hard to develop affordable housing. And the fact that market rate developers do it is pretty bonkers to me. I think it's and complying with these programs is also extraordinarily challenging. Like the work that you have to do to actually make they comply with these things after the fact is pretty wild. And the fact that we don't have a census tract here is also quite disappointing because that does eliminate a lot of the federal funding that's possible. But we need affordable housing. I know we say it again and again. And I guess I think when I look at these calls, like I don't think this is a perfect project. I think that the discussion has like demonstrated that this is not a perfect project in every way. But what I look at is sometimes I think we try to make a choice between what we want and what we have in front of us. And I think the choice is actually what's in front of us and what's most likely to come next. You know, we're not choosing between this and a 300-unit mixed-rate building. We're choosing between this and the project that came last time. You know what I mean? Like 180 market rate. You know, we've seen multiple proposals from this single developer, and we know what will come next if we don't have this. And I understand that there's some risks associated with it, but and Ellers will give us that analysis about four, right? They'll tell us if this project can't happen without our, and I trust Ellers to make that assessment. They've done really well with the city, and they've been good stewards of our in guiding our allocation of resources. But I guess I can't say no to an affordable housing project for families. I think it's only getting harder to make these projects work. And I want these 70 families in Fitchburg, and I hope it becomes 140 families. Obviously, there's no guarantee of that. But I would rather have 70 families, affordable housing units on this lot than nothing.
Thank you.
Can I respond to that?
No.
No. You got it.
So I'm gonna echo what I said in Plan Commission. Is what I like about this project is that, you know, as Gabriela mentioned, we need more workforce housing, affordable housing. The location is the correct location for affordable housing because is on the transit-oriented corridor, and we know that we need to put those type of housing where we have transportation. Okay. What I don't like is the surface parking, the density, because this is a prime parcel and we should put a lot of units here, okay? So that one are my concern about this project that I mentioned that in Plan Commission. The other thing I asked David in the Plan Commission meeting that we need to add seating on the boulevard, you know, some arrangement there for seating, that will be great. And my other concern is what happens if they don't get the additional tax credit for the second building, what is going to happen? Because having this only, you look at the two buildings together, like a twin building, the development look nice with the boulevard in the middle. But looking at this building alone, with that boulevard, it looks ugly. Okay, if he's not going to be able to build the second building. Okay, so that one is my other concern. You know what I mean? I know that affordable housing, I have been in a lot of housing webinar, talking to other mayors. I agree, 70 more units is better than nothing in the corridor. But, you know what I mean? So. And I mentioned that in Plan Commission, and this is my concern. But I hope that, you know, we can build the other building too, you know, to have more density in those parcels. So that's it. Okay. Oh, Dave, go ahead, Dave.
Just one question, Gabriella and Micah. If Ellers comes back and says no, the TED, you know, do we you know. Are we committed? You know, are we committed? Or I assume that our analysis, if they request the TED and it's not good, that we're not committed.
That one is for another conversation. We are approving here the rezone request. We shouldn't be talking about this.
I mean, I'm happy to answer it. I mean, I'm not committed to TID of any variety right now at all. I mean, I am barely about to be a yes on just approving this zoning. So
we need to look at the numbers.
Yeah, I need to see the numbers. So no, I am not committing to anything aside from this.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Ellers brings
Thank you,
back.
Micah.
Okay. Okay. So it's almost what time is? 7:43.
We took less time than you guys didn't plan.
Yeah,
so.
I know. Okay. So Bill, very short. I don't want a question.
I looked up while we were talking here, the census tract that this belongs to also includes the Highlands of Seminole and Harlan Hills, which is why it is not a qualified census tract.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
I also want to say, you know, this is a prime plot of land. We've got one shot for the next 50 to 150 years on getting the correct number of housing units here. And I don't see that this is the correct number. This is too low.
Okay. So I will ask for roll call, please.
Didn't even know where.
So this is
Donald
a roll call on the amendment.
Yeah,
to change from.
you already passed. We amended. It's to the amended ordinance.
Thank you. I'll have to skip it. Alder Gerhart.
Aye.
Alder Herps.
Aye.
Alder Jetzer.
Nay.
Alder Lattice.
Aye.
Alder Lepper.
Aye.
Alder Maldonado.
Aye.
Alder Regsted.
Aye.
Dantzler Jr. is out of the room.
Oh, he's out?
He stepped out.
Okay. Well, okay. Oh, we are voting. Yes.
Aye.
Okay. So the motion carries. Okay.
7-1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one, Gabriela.
Can I make a motion to amend the agenda?
Yeah, yes.
Can we move 11A1 and 2 up after the plan committee?
You want to just do it now? We can. The
Or,
plan's
yeah,
still got some
or
time.
no, that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
And 4, sorry. So
We're doing,
11A1, 2,
11A,
and 4.
1, 2, and 4. Okay.
Second.
All those in favor to moving this resolution up to the agenda, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carried. Okay, so this is a direct referral, new business, direct referral, and we are going to start with number 1, Gabriela. No,
Hold on.
sorry.
All right. I'll move approval of resolution R16626, amending the 2026 general fund, insurance fund, and technology fund budgets, hiring 2 additional firefighters.
Second.
Finance approved.
Okay, I have, before we move forward, I have a resident who wishes to speak in, I don't know what it is, support, I think so? Where is David? Oh, he left. Okay. Carry on. Okay, here it is. Okay, tell us what it is, Micah.
Yeah, so, you know, I think everyone here is well aware of kind of the challenges we've had with staffing in the fire department since, you know, about halfway through this year. As part of the 2027 budgeting process, the mayor has committed, and I think in general, council has generally committed to hiring 2 new firefighters in 2027 as part of the budget. This resolution would essentially use one-time funds, I believe from the police facility, excess funds from the police facility operating budget to start that hiring process immediately in 2026 and allow those additional 2 firefighters to be hired. Well, the hiring process to start immediately and allow them to be hired in 2026. I see no reason, if we're committed to hiring these firefighters in 2027, that we couldn't start this process now and get them on the books and start resolving some of these issues.
Okay, thank you. Question, I don't know, and do you want to talk, guys? No? Okay. So I think this is a commitment that we are showing to the fire department, that we understand there is a staffing issue in the department, and we are trying to work on short-term and long-term solution, and I think this one is something for the short-term solution. And I will appreciate that, your support. Because these 2 positions are going to bring a lot of capacity, to the department. And there is a memo also in the resolution. Gabriela, you have a question?
I think this is an easy yes. But I did want to ask, in terms of your early budget conversations, we've been well trained by Misty to not do structural deficits. So I'm curious how those discussions are looking in terms of financing that in the fiscal year 27 budget.
Well, we started today with a conversation with the budget. Tomorrow we have a budget presentation from the fire and police department and public works, so we continue tomorrow. But these 2 positions are already in the budget as my priorities. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is 2/3 of the vote. Who? Oh, David. Do you have? Do you want to? So you're in support of this?
Yes, actually.
Okay. Ooh.
Don't go there.
Okay. Oh, David too. Okay. Well, okay.
David Haight, 5855 Woodshed Road. This is what the people want. The people didn't really want a $40 million police facility, and they don't want the $12 million city hall remodeling that they know nothing about. There's no communication from this council or this mayor to the city. People, they don't know this. How do I know? I sit outside. I've been doing some work in the kettle at Seminole Glen, and I talk to people. They're totally unaware. Why aren't you communicating with the constituents? When you put in all the capital funding over the last 3+ years, it's close to $100 million. 100 million, and that doesn't account for the 50 million unfunded liability for the stormwater problem. You've got to start communicating. It's not that nobody's here because they're not interested. Nobody's here because they don't think there's anything happening. And every time something does, like they get hit with another $12 million charge, people are very angry. So do yourself a favor, do our community a favor, and start communicating. Thanks.
Okay, I need to make a comment here because, I want to tell you, David, maybe you know my newsletter that I sent, or the newsletter that some of the people here sitting, they sent. We have been communicating about this, the project for the police facility, many, many times. We launched this year a new e-newsletter. I am doing listening session in each district this year and last year, and the coffee with the mayor. I go around the city. They invite me to neighborhood meeting, and I go and I mention all of this. So don't come to me and tell me that we are not doing a good time to communication. We communicate.
Where is everybody?
I don't know where they are. By the way, I'm not going to go. Okay, stop it. So I want to tell this. The city is we're trying to improve our communication. We are in Facebook. I write articles in the Fitchburg Star. So we are doing communication. So I want to be clear for the people that are watching that we are doing that. David, do you have any question?
I just had a comment. Before we vote, can we just reiterate where the funds for the firefighters? Could you repeat it one more time?
Yeah, it's coming from. So we allocated the full amount to run the police facility this year for the operating costs, and obviously we're not spending all that money. So it's just coming from those funds that were allocated for 2026 to the police facility.
Thank you, Micah.
Okay, so,
Madam Mayor,
yes.
I have one question just for the clarity for the record here.
Yeah.
When would these new firefighters hopefully be on a truck? Is that like, did I see October?
I think the chief is already.
I don't know if we can answer that question
I don't know,
because
chief is there? Yeah, okay, go ahead, chief.
Yeah, as soon as I get the green light, we can start the processes. There will be possibly full or partial background processes that need to happen. And those are a little bit time dependent on our vendors and our providers. So yeah, I'd say worst case scenario, 30 days.
Okay, so roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Dantzler Jr.
Aye.
Alder Gerhart.
Aye.
Alder Herps.
Aye.
Alder Jutzer.
Aye.
Alder Latase.
Aye.
Alder Lepper.
Aye.
Alder Maldonado.
Aye.
Alder Ragsted.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Next one.
All right, I'll move approval of Resolution R-16926, ratifying the 2025 to 2027 collective bargaining agreement with IAFF.
Second.
Finance did approve.
Okay, so I think Chief Sarver is going to explain this.
Yes, so this would be the final draft or signing post-arbitration of the contract where obviously there was a rule in the city's favor. So this is just finalizing that.
Thank you. Can you explain the details or no?
Sure, I can do that. You're talking
For
highlights
the-
from
so the people
from
can-
the contract.
Yeah.
Yep. Let me just make sure I get everything in front of me here. So the primary features of the new contract provide for a movement to a paid time off bank, keeping the sick leave bank separate, adding an after 7 year step on the wage schedule, a 3% cost of living adjustment in 2025, 2026, and 2027, with retroactive pay for all active employees in the bargaining unit, removing the current longevity bonus side letter of agreement, and adding a lateral transfer program.
Okay, thank you. Any question, comments? Here none. All those in favor of resolution R-16926 say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
I'll move approval of Resolution R-17326, approving and incorporating multiple memoranda of understanding, MOUs, negotiated between the City of Fitchburg and IAFF Local 311.
Second.
Finance approved.
Okay, what is this? So who is going to speak on this?
I'll let Chief Sarver take this
Okay.
one too.
Yeah, so these memorandums of understanding are really just agreements of how we're doing business with the union and the firefighters, obviously, in Fitchburg. The multiple agendas include the minimum career staffing and mandatory overtime policy. Really, it's the selection of mandatory overtime. There were some changes there as far as PTO scheduling and how many people can be off per day. In addition to that, we have the bilingual incentive pay, which is reflective of the city's policy as far as awarding that, in addition to hourly rates. And then the last MOU is for the acting officer compensation. That's for when a lieutenant would bump up to the battalion chief position. They will receive an additional 7.5% of their wages for the hours worked in that position. So those are the three MOUs that we are seeking approval for.
Thank you. Any question, comments? Okay, here none. All those in favor of resolution R-17326 say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so I think we are done with the fire department? Yes? Yes? Yeah. Oh, no, there is another one. Well, no. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so where we are back to Plan Commission.
Do we need to do that last one? Are they be released?
Where is the last one?
Can I move to amend the agenda?
Where is that one? There. Oh, there.
9A, 1 and 2
Okay.
to right now.
Second.
Okay, so all those in favor of moving those two resolutions up to the agenda, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay.
All right, I will move approval of Resolution R-16326, amending the 2026 general fund budget for fire medical supplies.
Second.
Okay.
Finance did approve. This is EMS, hold on, I have it. EMS needed defibrillator pads, and the fire department had excess defibrillator pads, so we are selling the pads to Fitchburg EMS, and this is just taking care of the accounting to do so.
Okay, any question, comment? Okay, this is a 2/3 vote, so we need roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Dancer Jr.
Aye.
Alder Gerhart.
Aye.
Alder Herps.
Aye.
Alder Jutser.
Aye.
Alder Lattice.
Aye.
Alder Lepper.
Aye.
Alder Maldonado.
Aye.
Alder Regsted.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next one.
I'll move approval of Resolution R-16426, amending the 2026 general fund budget, fire POX background checks.
Second.
Finance did approve, and this is, we are now going to do physicals and psychological testing for the paid on-call firefighter staff, the same as we do for career staff. And so this is, and we need to pay for it. And so this is to make that payment.
Okay, any question, comment? Here none, all those in favor of resolution R-16426, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries. Okay, so I think we're done. With all the fire department resolution, yes. Okay, so now we move.
Thank you, everyone.
No, thank you, Chief. Thank you, guys, for coming. Okay, so next we are going back to Plan Commission.
All right. I'll do our second resolution. I'll move approval of Resolution R-16826, authorizing the city's request to amend the urban service area for development of the Wisconsin Department of Corrections juvenile facility to be located southwest of U.S. Highway 14 and north of County Highway M.
Second.
This did pass Plan Commission. This is the application to the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission to add this area to the urban service area. This project has been approved, if you recall. We've done a full approval for them, and they are moving forward with it. The utilities will be provided by the Village of Oregon, but we do need to expand the urban service area to accommodate the facility, and that's what this application will do. Obviously, it has to go through CARP-C.
Okay, any question, comment?
Yeah.
What?
So this is roughly 75 total acres. Is that basically our 1 year allotment of increase in the urban service area then? Or because we're not providing the service ourselves, is there some sort of an exception here?
Deanna is online.
Deanna's got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is a great question. We do have a policy in our comprehensive plan to only allow approximately, or on average, 75 acres per year. I think that it would be acceptable if Council and Plan Commission feels like this is a bit of an exception. This is not urban development that you would normally assume in an urban service area amendment. This the only land that is proposed to come into the urban service area is actually for the DOC. There's no outside land opening up for development. So in my mind, it's kind of an exception.
Okay. Okay. Any other question?
One more.
Okay.
So we've previously talked about the Village of Oregon providing water service here. Now we're talking about Oregon providing sanitary sewer. Are we going to see something about storm sewer in the future, or is that not an issue here?
Like what? Stormwater? What
Storm,
do you say?
yes.
That's a great question. That's a great question. The city of Fitchburg will still manage stormwater on this area in the city. Only the village will be handling sanitary service and then water service. But All other aspects would still be the city of Fitchburg, including stormwater management.
Okay. Okay. Any other question, comment? Here none. All those in favor of resolution R-16826, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
And Mayor, I have more report
Okay.
from the committee. So we did a conditional use for an additional farm residence on Haight Farm Road. We also did an ADR, an architectural design review for the City Hall campus exterior. So just the exterior of the building, which includes, the staff exit that used to be the police station, that will have used to be the police station exit, the native plantings, community center, entrance remains, adding the egress to the Jeannie Seeley room like we've discussed, removing some doors, and overall just like the look of the outside. We also did an ADR on Fitchburg well number 12, which is a well pump station, but it also includes 2 unisex bathrooms available year-round and a water fountain for the park that's adjacent. If you remember, there used to be a park shelter facility, but that was removed, and also they were originally going to do a solar array. That has also been removed from the facility. And they're going to look into whether or not they can prepare the roof so it could include solar. That's what I was told. And then we also did a minor PDD amendment for the inspiration at Swan Creek. We learned a lot about the fact that we don't deal with HOA covenants in the city, and the Plan Commission is going to be very explicit about not including anything that even references anything that's part of an HOA covenant in our planning documents in the future. And then we also had a presentation, which you might find interesting, about the Plan Commission, the Planning Department is looking at creating a zoning guidance for data centers. So if data centers are coming, it was a great presentation that talked about what is the current state of data centers in Fitchburg? What are the different types of data centers that could be feasible? For example, like a macro giant, those mega data centers that you hear a lot about, that's not even feasible in the city of Fitchburg because we literally don't even have space to put something like that, even if we wanted to, which I'm sure we don't. But there are different types of data centers. There are even data centers in Fitchburg currently. But the idea behind it would be to create zoning standards so that if there is a proposal that comes to us, we're not creating it from scratch. We're not left without guidance. And this is just a presentation about what the Plan Department is working on. When that does come forward, that would come to us. But if you're interested in where the Planning Department is and kind of what the type of things they're considering, I would encourage you to come. Thanks to Alders Jetzer and Let Us Say for coming to the Plan Commission meeting to watch that, among other things. And then the Planning Department did share an update. The deadline for the Comprehensive Plan Working Group is August 30th, as our administrator also mentioned. The kickoff with the work group with the Plan Commission is going to be part of the October 20th Plan Commission meeting. And then will be a public meeting on October 21st as well, which is the next day. It's a Wednesday evening. So please save those dates. Hopefully, Deanna, can you save the dates on those once you have times and locations to the Plan Commission or to the council? Thank you.
Yes, I can send a save the date.
Wonderful. And then we have a planning intern, and she did a nice presentation on some analysis about taxes paid per square foot for different types of housing and kind of different considerations around that. Did some showed some visualization. So if you're interested, it was a really nice presentation. She respectfully kept it very short, but it was interesting, and she did a great job. So if you want to take a look at that, that's
and what is it?
It was around 9:15.
And what is the final?
Well, I mean, obviously, as you might imagine, density makes a difference. Like you get more taxes per square foot for higher density, and yes, and then if infrastructure is going to pay for itself. She actually did a direct comparison between Crescent Crossing and South Stoner Prairie, which are right next to each other, have basically the same acreages, but more density in one, less density in the other, even though they're both in that kind of single family standalone unit kind of style. And so it was like 75 cents taxes per square foot in Crescent Crossing versus 31 cents per square foot in South Stoner Prairie. But obviously a ton more infrastructure for South Center Prairie. So it's an interesting little visualization, and my understanding is that she did a wonderful job. So thanks to her for a great summer.
Did she share that presentation, Diana? Can she share that with us?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
of course, yeah. I can send
thank
it out.
you. Yeah. And also, remember this multifamily pay taxes. Okay. Okay.
And I think I
that's it?
meant North Stoner Prairie.
North, yeah.
Sorry,
because
I wrote it down wrong. But yeah, and that's all for Plan Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we move to Board of Public Works.
I see we have one more person
Okay.
sitting lonely in the chambers here. So I'm going to make a motion to amend the agenda to move the TTC item to right now.
Second.
Does that include the TTC report?
No. Okay. You're going to wait your turn. Okay, so all those in favor of moving the ordinance to front of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay. What is this?
Okay. Well, I should probably move it here
Ordinance.
first. So then I will move approval of ordinance 2026-0-21, creating a traffic impact analysis requirement for new developments. Do I have to read all this by amending sections 24-3, 24-9, and 25-2 of the Fitchburg Code of Ordinances?
Thank you. Did the board...
Second.
Oh, sorry. Did TTC approve?
TTC approved.
What about the Board of Public Works?
Board of Public Works approved.
Okay, so what is this? So it's going to be Ross.
So I will toss it to Ross after giving a very brief overview because he can do a much better job than
Okay.
I. The general goal here is to provide clarity about traffic impact analyses based on size of development. There are guidelines. It's not always clear which guidelines or when a development falls into needing a higher criteria of a TIA and how far out you have to go. So this is really trying to bring clarity to the community, to developers, and get everything out in the open right away. And I think I'll give it to Ross to give a more succinct answer.
Since you are here.
All right. I do want to just put on the record, I had a shorter title for this, and Valerie made me do that long title. But like Alder Reichstad said, basically the city already requires transportation impact analyses for new developments. These guidelines just spell out what we require and when for a developer to provide so we can review and approve those TIAs. issue with a certain TIA preparer, we may tell the developer that, but we don't have any issues with any that have been used in the city so far.
Thank you. Mike?
Is the cliff that you fall over to require a traffic improvement that the developer would have to pay for, is that like a cliff? Like, do you all of a sudden the next development meets the requirement that would make that improvement, and then they're just on the hook for that just because like that's where they fall in the timeline?
So that's not really spelled out in these guidelines, but effectively you could view it that way. So there's certain level of service thresholds that developments have to make sure our streets meet those levels of service, which is basically the amount of delay you see when you're driving a car on the road. We also have level of service stuff for bikes and pedestrians that more relates to safety. But yes, if a new development comes in, the level of service on the road is a C right now, and they would kick it down to a D. They have to pay for improvements to keep the level of service at a C.
So
But
I'm
in
thinking
cases like where we have multiple developments happening on a very shortened timeline, like with No Oaks Ranch, Syncopation, and then potentially the Osborne property, we are considering those in a different way than we would if they came on, 5-10 years differently. So they're having to kind of work together, and we're going to figure out payment structure for those in particular.
What about like a situation where it's like Bowman Plaza and the UPS store? And so like say Bowman Plaza went under, just snuck under it, and then the UPS store comes along and you're like, oh, you guys are on the, how would you handle like a situation?
So then the later development would be required to pay for those improvements.
Interesting. Okay.
I think there could be situations where the city looks at other ways in which to capture that, just in the interest of what's fair.
Yeah. It is more just me being curious.
Yeah,
about,
yeah. It's a very good question, and we have had this conversation from a staff perspective. There's no clean and easy answer. That's one of the challenges on this. In an ideal world, perhaps when you're looking at the large or the medium, you do have one developer who's proposing the entire project, but of course that doesn't always pan out that way. So it's kind of each situation has its own merit and circumstances, and there could be other solutions than just once the tipping point is reached by a certain project, that project is now solely on the hook for all of that.
Is there anywhere in the country that does like deferred assessments like this, like you would do for utilities?
There are a lot of places that do things similar to that. Sometimes you can basically require a certain district to pay for the certain amount of improvements, and sometimes you can basically make them pay by the amount of trips they're generating. So the first development on a street generates 50 trips, they have to pay $50 or whatever your fee is, and then the next one is 100, they have to pay that, and then eventually that all goes into the fund that you fund your new improvements out of.
Okay, Logan.
Ross, I just wanted to ask if you could clarify for the room here why we decided against kind of putting the specific guidelines in the ordinance and decided to instead keep it as follow the guidelines which are in this other document.
Yes, so that was done so that staff has the ability to update and change those guidelines as we need to, depending on how Fitchburg grows and our transportation needs change. If we start getting these TIAs back and it turns out there's a point in these guidelines that doesn't make sense, then we can make that adjustment without having to come back to council. So.
Okay, and also we have David Hayes, who registered, and he wishes to speak, but he's gone, in opposition, for the record. Okay, any other question, comments? So all those in favor of Ordinance 2026-021, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ordinance carries. Okay, Thank you, Ross. Okay, so where we are at?
Public Works.
Public Works, okay.
I'll move approval of Resolution R-16126, approving the First Amendment to the Agreement for Subdivision Improvements in the plat of Jamestown Quarry.
Second.
Board of Public Works approved.
Okay, what is this?
This is our usual subdivision improvement agreement for Jamestown Quarry. Requires that all infrastructure improvements are to be completed prior to occupancy of any building. However, McDonald's wants occupancy within the next couple of weeks, Chick-fil-A not far behind, and the bank before December 1st, but the developer is having a hard time obtaining signage because material lead times are preventing them from acquiring and making the purchase of those signs. So this amendment gives them a little bit of breathing room and says that they need to do everything that they can prior to occupancy, including pavement markings and putting in the footings for the signs. But we give them until December 1st to actually install the signs. And these are all wayfinding signs. They are not safety related. So this is like, eastbound traffic on McKee Road, and you're going to turn left. You need to know which turn lane to go into depending on whether you want to continue up Fitcherona Road or you're heading for that retail shopping center.
Okay, any question, comment? Here none, all those in favor of resolution R-16126 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion,
Aye.
Oh, sorry, the motion carried. Next one.
Tim, am I okay to move this resolution?
Yes, you are okay to move the resolution.
Awesome. Then I will move approval of Resolution R-16226, accepting subdivision improvements for Phase 2 in the plat of Jamestown Quarry.
Second.
Board of Public Works approved.
Okay, what is this?
So this is the subdivision improvement agreement specifically for Phase 2, which is the retail center plus the second Texas Wrap building. The Public Works Department has inspected and conditionally approved all the improvements within Phase 2, and you'll notice in the resolution itself, in our hereby resolved clause, we've got some conditional items in there. Evidently, all of those items have been addressed.
Okay, any question, comments? Logan.
So this is the retail center and the second Texas Wrap you said, Alder Jetzer. Do we have an idea when those will begin construction?
I don't, but Tim might.
This is just for the 4 lots along McKee Road.
Oh, not the entirety of Phase 2?
For that one is for what? For the outlet? No. What did he say?
So it's not for the entirety of Phase 2. It's just for the 4 drive-through businesses along fronting McKee?
Right, for this, it doesn't include the second Texas Wrap. That's currently under construction.
But, okay, so I am confused with the first one. The first resolution, it said we are approving the First Amendment to the Agreement of Improvement of Plat Jamestown. I think that one are these 4, isn't it?
Yes.
And so Phase 2 is the whole thing, isn't it?
Yes, but as was mentioned, I think in a meeting earlier today, Tim, I think you mentioned that there's a separate SIA that actually covers the remainder of Phase 2. And once those public improvements are completed for the second apartment building and the retail center, then you would see that come back to the city for acceptance of public improvements.
Correct.
It's confusing.
Well, now you know why it takes so long for staff to get a few things accomplished when we're navigating all of these various items and challenges. So welcome to our world.
Okay, if you understand this, I want to say all those in favor of resolution R-16226 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. Anything else from Board of Public Work?
We
You
will
have
be
2 minutes.
We will be seeing additional items later on in the agenda under new business. Additional information from the Board of Public Works, as Administrator Brecklin mentioned earlier, the County M underpass meeting, public meeting is this Thursday, August 27th from 5:30 to 6:30 at Fire Station 3 on Syene Road. We can view preliminary plans, learn about the schedule, ask questions, provide feedback. We're looking at summer 2027 construction. And Adams Road between Fitchburg and Went Road is closed from Monday, August 24th, this past Monday, through the Friday the 28th for culvert replacement. No access through the work area. 2026 resurfacing. Tower Hill is the only remaining set of streets that need resurfacing, and we're waiting on utility work there at this point. 2026 sidewalk replacement. Construction was scheduled to start last Monday and complete sometime next month. Wheeling Road Shoulders, pre-construction meeting happened a couple weeks ago, and last week we had traffic and erosion control, looking for a completion date in October, so this is not going to make it before the Ironman as was originally planned. 2026 Belmar and Tower Hill utilities, water and storm in Belmar, water in Tower Hill, is underway and or complete. Paving is under the 2025 ARPA funding. Belmar is underway with the paving. Tower Hill, as I stated earlier, is still working on utilities. We will see a resolution for well number 12 later on in the agenda. And Fitcherona Road construction, as Administrator Brecklin mentioned, private utility work is happening there and should be completed by November 30th. Tree clearing and grubbing should have started this week or last week. Yeah. That's the end of my Public Works update.
Thank you. Okay, Parks Commission.
No report. Our next meeting is on the 3rd of September.
Thank you. Library Board.
I have a couple of quick updates here. We went through some of our annual policy review and approvals. That would be for our circulation policy, our community bulletin board policy, our laptop checkout policy, our privacy of library records and library use policy, and our theft of library materials policy. There weren't any major changes to anything, and some of them are essentially saying our policy is to follow state law, and state law hasn't changed. So, let's see. We approved the first draft of the 2027 budget, which will come back to us several times. Couple notable changes in this budget. There's an increase in the utility budget, which will bump us back up to closer to actual expenses. That was an area that had to be cut back for the 26 budget to make it balance, even though we all knew going in that it would not be sufficient. We also increased the budget for repairs to others. So that's repairs for things that are not handled within the city or by city staff. And then our next meeting in September, we will be going through our annual evaluation of the library director in closed session. That's all I've got.
Okay, thank you. Commission on Aging Well.
Just wanted to thank everyone who came out for the brass celebration with the senior centers, and we're able to come celebrate and hang out with folks from the senior center. Other than that, no further updates at this time.
Thank you. Resource Conservation.
Can I add to Alder Dantzler's report?
Yeah. Yes.
So there are going to be several Hispanic Heritage Month events in September. So I'll be speaking at noon on the 2nd, which is a Wednesday, and Areli Estrada is going to be speaking on the 15th at noon. So I'd encourage any alders and community members to check that out.
Thank you.
Can you send that info like through an email or something like that if you get a chance, Alder Maldonado? Thank you.
I'll do that. Yep.
Resource Conservation Commission.
Yes, we meet next on September 14th, but prior to that, I'll remind everybody we've got our Green Thursday movie coming up on September 3rd at 5:15 at the library. It's called Poisoned, The Dirty Truth About Your Food, and that movie was made before everything was killing us. That actually conflicts with Rooted's community dinner at Hostahochi, though. Also, keep in mind, we've got our fall shredding and an e-recycling event scheduled for Saturday, September 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. You may have received a card in the mail for that this week.
What? No. Okay.
I did. And again, Wisconsin Stormwater Awareness Week is September 19th through 27th. So Monday through Friday, there are webinars you can sign up for. And September 27th is our sustainability walking tour of Terra Vesa, and details are forthcoming for that.
Okay. I have a question about the movie. How are you promoting that? Because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything posting on social media or an email, or how you are promoting this? Because where is the communication?
Well, I guess I was relying on Ben Schulte to push it out through the city's media channels.
Can you send an email to us about this? Because I didn't have a clue
Sure.
about this. If you can send any, so I can put it on my calendar.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Bill. TTC.
Yes, so in addition to our ordinance, we also discussed the Schumann Drive traffic calming pedestrian safety project. That was the one that Alder Lattice, I think, was it you that mentioned it in your district report at the last council meeting? Or was it Alder Webb? Okay. So that's the on-street pedestrian and bike accommodations between the Seminole Glen path and the Park Hill Court and Schumann Drive intersection. As of yesterday, the paint was down in some of those areas. I watched a couple drivers go through and still kind of stop where the old stop sign was, so it'll take a little bit of adjusting, but we're getting there. So we also discussed the Metro Transit mid-year budget update. So Metro Transit gave an update to a City of Madison committee, I can't remember which, but we also then reviewed what their presentation entailed. A notable item from that is that in one of our previous years, we underpaid by $300,000 for what the check we wrote essentially versus the cost of the service to provide, or the cost to provide service to the city of Fitchburg. We are not on the hook for that, but because of the way our contract is structured, our base cost will go up 3% for 2027. So there's a 3% automatic built in that to kind of account for the fact that we were under in that past year, and that does not account for any potential changes to our contract with Metro Transit, which it sounds like Metro Transit is eager to renegotiate some of those contracts. So there could be more costs coming. TBD on that. Two other quick items. The Comprehensive Safety Action Plan proposals are due August 31st. We expect several folks to submit proposals under that. And then finally, I'll provide a little bit of data that Ross shared earlier about the Research Park Drive speed limit pilot program. So on Research Park Drive, just south of City Hall by Oasis, we reduced the speed limit from 30 to 20. Average speeds in that area, dropped from 21.6 before the change to 20.7. So just about 1 mile per hour average speed drop. And again, this was 30 miles an hour before, and people were only going 21.6 on average. The 85th percentile speed, so that's the speed that 85% of drivers are at or below, went from 26 to 24 miles per hour. So that was about a 2 mile per hour drop. So initial data, no permanent changes at this time, but it's helping to inform potential future speed limit changes.
Thank you. Community and Economic Development Authority.
We meet on Thursday morning.
Ag and Rural Affairs Committee.
I'll move approval of Resolution R 16026, Farmland Preservation Plan Map Update.
Second.
Ag and Rural approved.
Plan approved.
Okay, what is this?
So this was here earlier in the spring. We have to submit a map of all of the rural properties that are in farmland that would qualify for farmland preservation. So that would be in ag zoning. And I think they're bringing it up here, maybe. So there were two properties, the two properties in and light green there that wanted to stay in ag zoning. So they are current. So we had to move them back into that on the map. And then as part of these changes, between the last time this was here and this time, there was a couple changes to properties that we approved over the last few meetings. There was one for that went into small lot ag for a horse farm, and a couple others. And so this is bringing that all into line with the current zoning so that we can submit the perfected map to the state. Deanna can add anything if I missed it.
No, that sounds great.
Okay, it's very easy. So, any question, comments? No. All those in favor of resolution R-16026, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I have one more thing from Ag and Rural. So we also approved a additional farm residence for a property on Haight Farm Road. They are going to move a house from the Lacey property on Muchler Road there to this property on Haight Farm Road, and the resident's father is going to move into that house. So this is officially a additional farm residence that is complying with some of the zoning changes that we made earlier in the year. But when we talk about adding housing so that we talk about like people building ADUs so that people's parents can move in to those houses, that is exactly what is happening here. It's a different form of that happening, but it is moving a house onto another property so that a resident's elderly parent can move into it. So it's cool that that's happening.
Yeah. Thank you, Micah. Bicycle and Pedestrian Commission, Joe?
So a couple things. First, our next meeting is on the 2nd. And then the other thing I'd like to do is just acknowledge an email that Steve Arnold sent out from Bike Fitchburg. So there is a complete database in August of bicycle-friendly businesses. And the top city on that list is Fitchburg, Wisconsin, with 36 current awardees. So I just wanted to acknowledge the work of Bike Fitchburg for highlighting our bicycle-friendly businesses.
Okay, thank you. I think Steve shared that email with all of you, isn't it? Okay, good, okay. And I want to say thank you, Steve Arnold, former mayor, because he's worked in this initiative for a long time, and he's with Mark Hamilton too. They're working on this, and this is great. So, okay, EMS Commission.
Yep. I was not able to attend, but I got some updates.
Okay.
One, they recognized one of the paramedics who just retired after 35 years of service, Tom Bates, which was awesome. And then they also promoted paramedic lieutenant and pinned one of the paramedic interns. But the other two highlights would be we approved the purchase of a replacement response/support vehicle. So that's what the chiefs use when they're responding to scenes of calls, but they also use it for like community education and for firefighter rehab on the scenes of structure fires. Epic is giving Fitzroy EMS about $85,000 towards that vehicle. So we approved using some of the unassigned funds balance and then the state's EMS funding assistance to purchase that. And then the last thing was the memorandum of understanding about the permanent part-time paramedics. That's continued to go back and forth between the union, continues to go back and forth between the union. The main disagreement is whether Those permanent paramedics will be capped at 24 hours a week, which the chief has said he does not support, and they structure it so that they just limit the hours over the course of the year, and they have to average less than 24 hours, or they have to average between 24 and a full-time hours to be the permanent part-time. So that was sent back to the union with everything approved except for the cap, and so we'll see what comes from that.
Okay. Thank you. Healthy Neighborhood Advisory Committee. Joe.
So I don't have any updates other than the events that Chad shared that I've shared in other meetings as well. So.
Thank you. There is an event next week, isn't it? In Costa Foci? Yeah. I don't know. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, it's out there. Yeah. Okay. Housing Advisory Committee.
We will meet next on October 12th. However, Housing Advisory Committee adjacent, I attended the Ali grand reopening. This is Fitchburg's first senior affordable housing project, built in like 1994-ish. This is just on the north side of McKee Farms Park. It's 41 affordable units. If you drove past there in the recent months, you've seen the overhaul of the exterior of the building. Interior, they replaced the bathrooms and the kitchens, cabinets, appliances, flooring, painted everything. It's pretty nice now. This was the first major renovation of that building. It's over 30 years old. They got a little over $6 million of funding from WIDA to do this project. They did it in 3 phases. They moved groups of residents to like the Mainstay Suites Hotel while their units were being upgraded, and 100% of the residents came back, which is apparently very unusual. Typically when residents need to be relocated, something like 20% just say, forget it, I don't want to move twice, I'm just going to find my own way. So that kind of says something about the quality of this place, yeah. And this is an Illuminous project. These are the same people behind the Cesta in Terravesa. They've been working with Moss Construction for the last 60 years. So that's who did the project. And most of the residents there appear to be widowed women who cheered very loudly when this guy named Mike from Moss Construction was given a thank you.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was quite popular with the older ladies.
We don't need those details, Bill.
One other item, September 30th, there is a tour of the Bayview Community Center. This is a passive house building. This is just downtown off of near Brittingham Park. It's the community center for that very colorful neighborhood. I can send out an email with information on how to attend that.
That's it? Okay, thank you. Landmark Preservation Commission.
No report.
Street Advisory Committee.
No report.
Community Equity Advisory Committee.
We meet tomorrow at 5:15.
Thank you. Report from any other commission and committees.
I have one.
It has to be short.
Okay. Last Thursday, Administrator Brecklin and I attended the Madison Metropolitan Sewerage District budget preview for municipalities. They have a bunch of infrastructure projects. Well, not a bunch, but they're very expensive infrastructure projects. One is liquid processing. This is like $100 million. This is all the tanks and plumbing for their biodigesters. They have a heat and power project. That's another $45 million. They've got aging, inefficient engines. After they upgrade, they'll be able to sell something like $6 million worth of excess biogas annually.
Wow.
The biosolids, this is like their containment system for holding all of their processed stuff before they can truck it out to farms and whatnot. They are not in compliance right now. They don't have enough storage for all of it. Merely to get into compliance would be a $95 million project. They're planning a $215 million project for better future proofing. They've got the Nine Springs Interceptor, which was built in 1965 and has seen zero capacity improvements since then. So all of this stuff is...
How much?
Yeah. So what they said was we're going to see rate increases. They only gave us 2027 through 2032, but it's going to be 12%, 12%, 9.4, 12.1, 8.1, and 7.8 for a grand total over the 6 years of an 80% increase. If you understand that inflation might be perhaps 3% across that same time period, then it's only like a 50% increase. Public Works Director Volker was kind enough to tell me how that would be reflected in our rates.
Okay.
So in your quarterly water bill, you see a charge for your meter, and that's for the water meter, and then there's also a charge for sewer. So that fixed quarterly charge would increase, and then you also have per 1,000-gallon charges for your sanitary use. It's based on all the water that goes to your property. So that would also get bumped up, and it would be. The process is that information from the sewage district comes to our finance department, who gives that along with a spreadsheet of all of our residents and all of the properties that are served, and gives it to Baker Tilly, who does some voodoo black magic and makes recommendations on what our rates ought to be switched to.
So we don't have any idea how much is going to be the impact in a residential home?
We don't,
Okay.
but it will
coming.
likely be significant.
It does have some variability by community. So what they had talked about, and that's actually, Alder Jester, a great summary, by the way, thank you. And for those of you who receive the Dane County Cities and Villages weekly updates, the Director Forbes McIntosh was also at the meeting and provided a summary within that email. But it does vary based on a number of factors by community, and I think November 1st is when we get the rate increase finalized coming out of MMSD. Do I recall that correctly, Bill?
And there is another meeting from the sewer. Do we need to go? Do I need to go?
Yeah, we can chat.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I don't know. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we move to Personnel Committee.
Wait, can I do finance?
Where is finance?
You didn't let us do our reports when we moved the things.
What?
We did the resolutions for Finance Committee, but not the...
Can I say the couple things that we talked about in Finance?
Department report.
Oh, okay, sorry, okay.
So we got a comment from Moody's. We just got some statistics. This is not like an official approval or anything like that, but just that the statistics that we currently have, they're aligned with where they should be. Our PSC approved our simplified rate case for water, so that'll come out with the September bills. Something we just talked about. Budget meetings have started between the meetings and the departments and the mayor, and the special finance committee meeting is scheduled for September. And the new payroll software has now done 2 payrolls, and we have given notice to our previous provider that we are dropping them. And the police department is still working on their transition. And finally, there were 2 rogue beavers in the McKee Farm stormwater ponds damming up the stormwater pipes, and they have been removed.
Okay.
So important information there.
What did you mention about Moody's?
You want to hear more about the beavers? Is that what you said?
No, Moody's.
They were removed. So we got an issuer comment. Basically, it just kind of gives us the statistics of where we are currently.
Can you send that information? Where is that?
It's in the finance packet, but yes, I can send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to read it. Okay. Thank you. Okay, where we are now. Personnel.
No update at this time.
Public safety.
No report.
No report. And we are moving to unfinished business, no report. And new business, we have number 3. That one is for you, Bill.
Yes, I will move approval of Resolution R-17126, acceptance of well facility number 12 bids.
Second.
As presented at the Finance Committee meeting.
Okay, what is this?
Board of Public Works approved.
Finance approved.
And Finance approved, yes, okay. So well facility number 12 was re-advertised after adjustments were made to remove the shelter from the RFP, because we've already got one. This is a direct referral so we can break ground before year end. We got 6 bids, and they were all within 15% of the median there, right around $4 million. The low bidder was J.H. Hassinger, coming in at $3.725 million, just a hair under the engineer's estimate. We've never worked with them, but all the references gave positive feedback. The well is already drilled down to about 1,033 feet. It's cased down to 500 to 600 feet. So this $3.725 million is just for the well house itself, which includes a budget amendment to move some park fees in for the restrooms and the sidewalk that service Stoner Prairie Park. Tim, did you have anything else, or Dave?
No additional comments.
None here, Bill.
Okay, any other question, comment? Here, none, all those in favor of,
Oh, this,
what is?
we need a 2/3 vote because of the amendment.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Dancer Jr.
Aye.
Alder Gerhart.
Aye.
Alder Herps.
Aye.
Alder Jetser.
Aye.
Alder Lattice.
Aye.
Alder Lepper.
Aye.
Alder Maldonado.
Aye.
Alder Reichstad.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so where we are, item number 5.
I will move approval of Resolution R-17626, approving assignment and assumption of subdivision improvements agreement for the plat of Jamestown Quarry. Dun, dun, dun.
Second, dun, dun, dun.
Board of Public Works approved.
Okay, what is this?
All right, here we are again. So our original subdivision improvement agreement was with Wingra Real Estate LLC. They are in the process of selling to Fitchburg Partners LLC. All the improvements for the entire plat will transfer, including previous resolutions on tonight's agenda and any the future signage that we mentioned. The city has been working with Fitchburg Partners in anticipation of this transfer. Both partners, Wingra and Fitchburg Partners, are agreeable to this, as is the city. Tim, anything to add?
We did receive signatures from both parties, so as Alder Jesser mentioned, both parties are agreeable.
Okay. Any question, comment? Yes, Logan.
Just wanted to clarify, does this extend for all the remaining land in Jamestown Quarry, or is this just for the kind of that retail center and the Texas Wrap building? Because I think, isn't Wingra holding on to the inner quarry, that they're still doing their quarrying operations?
I think in our map we saw that the infield there was labeled as part of Phase 2. Tim, care to comment on that?
It is part of Phase 2, but it's an outlot right now, so there would be a separate SIA for when that gets developed.
Thank you.
Okay, any other question, comment? Okay, all those in favor of resolution R-17626 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye. Aye.
The motion carries. Okay, so we are at the end almost, so we are moving to Alder District reports. We're going to start with District 2.
I attended the 7th inning stretch unveiling. There was quite a large number of people there, including Mr. Barrelman, and who's the brewer? What's the brewer?
Bernie.
Bernie Brewer, yes. As well as I mentioned the Ali grand reopening and the MMSD budget preview. I'll let everybody know that the MPO's round trip program has a Smart Trips challenge. So you can sign up to be part of that and then log all of your walking, biking, and transit and carpooling trips in the month of September and win fun prizes and contribute to the total non-single car trips. And one little comment about the Senior Center Brat event. Every year I go to the pancake breakfast put on by the Senior Center Friends, and they never have vegan options for me.
Oh, okay.
And that's fine. I understand, okay? So I didn't even bother going to the brat event last year, and I found out after the fact that they had vegan brats.
Oh, really? Wow.
So I made a point to going there this year, and I said I would like one regular for my wife and one vegan for me. And they said, oh no, we don't have any vegan this year because nobody ate them last year.
Okay. Okay.
I just got a little fun one. I don't know if everyone knows this, but I collect four-leaf clovers, and I have 5 Guinness World Records related to it. But the reason I share it is because
really?
I know. But the reason I share it is because I don't know if everyone knows that Fitchburg is home to the world's largest collection of four-leaf clovers.
Oh.
Which I think is really cool, and I am very proud of Fitchburg. And I also think about this all the time because our logo is a stylized four-leaf clover.
Yeah.
And the reason I mention this now is because a documentarian flew to Madison back in May to film a documentary about four-leaf clovers, where she spent a ton of time in Fitchburg, me training her how to hunt, mostly in Fitchburg. Some of the places you may actually recognize if you watch the video.
Yeah, I watch it.
And at the end of the video, I take her to, there's a big version of our clover in McKee Farms Parker, so I take her and I'm like, take a look at Fitchburg's logo, it's a four-leaf clover, and she's just awestruck by the fact that I live in a city with a four-leaf clover logo completely by accident. So anyway, it just feels like a fate. This city is full of four-leaf clovers and tons of outdoor recreation opportunities. There's lots of reasons to go outside for any number of hobbies. But if you're interested in learning more about four-leaf clovers, the video is on a YouTube channel called Rabbit Hole. It's called How to Find a Four-Leaf Clover. And as of today, it has 768,000 views.
Whoa.
So going for 1 million. But yeah, I mean, like it's just an opportunity to get outside and like any outdoor recreation. But Fitchburg is a pretty special place for lots of reasons. But one of my favorite reasons is how many four-leaf clovers there are here. And I think we should all be proud of the fact that we have a world record right here in Fitchburg. Thanks.
Okay. Wow. Maybe you need to share that link with Jeremy.
I can.
Oh, okay. Oh, I imagine. Okay. District 3.
Couple quick things, and then I have a couple questions for staff. I was able to go to the Terra Vesa picnic, got some good feedback about the vision for potential park improvements at Terra Vesa Park. There was a shelter or a temporary tent that was put up for the picnic, and everyone was pretty much standing under that. No one wanted to stand in the direct sun for some reason, so further evidence that we need a shelter out there. I was also able to attend Community Night Out and the Agora Art Fair, 2 great community events all within 1 week.
Yeah.
Plenty of great things going on in Fitchburg. Don't want anyone to tell you otherwise. You can also hunt for four-leaf clovers if you're looking for something to do the other 51 weeks a year. Chad covered my couple meeting updates here, so I did want to also just ask staff, and I think Tim is offline, so Chad, you might be the victim here. I had a resident reach out to me about some resurfacing that was done, or kind of the final coat of surface put on Athlone Road in Highfield Reserve. They said they only got 12 hours notice or so between when the placards went out on the doors and then when the paving was scheduled to start, which they expressed some concern about. So I was curious, first of all, if that was a city project or if that was whoever Veridian hired to do that, or how that was scheduled, because it's a new neighborhood.
Yeah, I saw the email string on this one. In my recollection from the engineering department was that that was the developer putting the second coat of asphalt on a new residential street. So that was outside of the city's resurfacing project that was going on this year. Obviously, city staff was not thrilled about the length of time that notice was provided in that particular situation. And I believe that we have already reached out to the developer on that to let them know more time and notice is definitely needed. And hopefully future projects will have that.
Okay. And the reason I wouldn't have brought this up, but we had this exact same conversation a year ago with the Inspiration at Swan Creek doing the same thing on Sassafras Drive. And then as this constituent noted, they also had this happen when they lived in Terra Vesa. So I don't know what we need to do to, I mean, if the developer says, hey, we're going to do this tomorrow, we just say, absolutely not. You require them to give us notice, not just ask them to. But the impacts that this has had on now 3 different parts of my district has been frustrating. And it's not even we're not even the ones at fault here. But I understand why it would seem like it was the city doing it. In this case, and at least those Sassafras one last year too, it was not. But I don't know if that's something we need to change in some of our ordinances and require a minimum 72 hours notice. But for it to happen 3 times within a couple years, all within one district, is putting a lot of strain on folks in the community.
Yeah, I don't know the circumstances of all 3 situations, and I certainly don't want to diminish the impact that can have on affected property owners and residents. I will say, obviously, weather can contribute to the length of notice that could be helpful. If they're trying to squeeze in paving in between, a couple of rainy days, and there's one dry day where they can actually do paving, followed by rainy days, that could impact the ability to do something like a 72-hour notice. And then, of course, oftentimes we can run into some challenges towards the end of the paving season when the weather temperatures fluctuate between when the plant is going to start closing and developers and so forth are trying to get the last loads of asphalt in and their projects wrapped up. So again, not trying to diminish the impact, and certainly the city can try to influence these situations to the best that we can. But again, there is a bit of a balance that is trying to be struck here about getting that notification out, but providing the developer with a little bit of flexibility, particularly if there's some weather-related challenges that are impacting some timing.
I just don't want to have the same conversation next year, assuming I'm still sitting in this chair. So one other last item, I just want to respond to the public comment from earlier about city communication. I also agree that we do a ton of outreach, and the fact that there's no one in the chamber right now isn't necessarily reflective of that. So if you'd
we
like
don't have any controversial item on the agenda.
People watch online too.
Yeah.
Oh yes, because we will hear comments about things that way too. So just a quick reminder, you can always subscribe to my monthly e-newsletter, the District 3 Dispatch, at loganreigstad.com/news. The city's Fitchburg Connect newsletter goes out at the beginning of the month. Mine's mid-month, so we try to harmonize amongst each other here. Also social media, Instagram, Facebook. Happy to sit down and chat with whomever, whenever. So I'm an open book, and I know my fellow alders up here do a ton of outreach as well. So.
Oh, you forgot to mention about the Rusty Bee, the night market. It's coming on Thursday.
Yes,
so that one is a great event, a community event too. I recommend you to go.
Yes, Rusty Bee Night Market Thursday
From 5 to 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Donna?
I just wanted to say, for folks who went to or volunteered at the Angora Art Fair, that was fun. A good day of serving and stuff like that. And then also, it's not a district thing, but I just wanted to say happy birthday to a longtime Fitchburg resident and tradesman, Alfonso Cooper, who's the husband of our first African-American mayor in our state, Miss Frances Hunley Cooper. And they had their party, his 75th birthday, over at the community room this past Saturday. So,
Thank you. Micah.
I'll be quick. I also went to the opening of the mural at McKee Farms Park, and it's really, I am a huge baseball fan, so it's very cool to me, but that we still exist. There are still a few baseball fans left in the world. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's very cool. It's very well done. It's that kind of just like public art installation is something I wish we had more of, and so it's great. I'll add my thanks to everyone about Community Night Out. It was awesome. It was a great event. It gets better every year. And just next Tuesday, I think for all 3 school districts is back to school. So I just want to say,
Oh my Lord, yeah, okay.
to all the kids, welcome back to school, and to all the teachers, thank you for everything you do for the kids in schools. So I'm going to kick it back to Donald because it looks like he has something to say.
I also went to the community night out, and it was awesome. So shout out to the police department for planning that. It was also cool to see the Army heavily represented and all the police department veterans that they recognized. No Navy veterans, so that was surprising. But and then also I was going to give a shout out to Ross for doing that Shubin Drive work so quickly because it's shaping up really well. So that's what I have.
Thank you. Donald, do you want to add anything else?
Yes, real quick. If there are any families who have children of elementary school age and you still need a backpack with school supplies in it, I do have a few more left. So feel free to contact me. The contact information is all on the website, or you can contact me via social media. I believe I have 3 or 4 left for elementary school age kids. Again, it's a backpack. The colors are neutral, I guess I would say.
Okay.
But it could be a young lady or a young boy who needs a backpack with school supplies in it.
Thank you.
I was going to say, I sent out my first newsletter too. So if people want to sign up for it, my in-laws that live in Illinois enjoyed reading it. They said
Yeah,
so.
I read yours. That's good. Yeah, and I read yours. It was very well done too. Yeah. So we are doing a lot of communication here. So, okay. So District 1.
I can go. So the Allied Duns Marsh 25th anniversary is on September 12th. So I'll also be promoting that at our next council meeting. Wanted to also shout out one of our residents, Christopher Peguero. He is the new executive director at the Farley Center. He's also expressed interest in council and committee members coming out to see the space. We wouldn't be talking official business, so no walking forum issues there. But if you're interested, please get in touch with me. It's a really lovely space. They have, I think, 105 acres. Part of it is dedicated to community-supported agriculture, and then the rest of it is dedicated to natural burials. So if you want to be put in your estate plan to be buried without embalming and chemicals, then that would be a good place to go. So the other thing is today I met with a student at Verona Area High School who's doing a video project on Narcan awareness. So, harm reduction is really important, especially with the rising opioid crisis, to be able to make sure as many people in the community are trained on it as possible and aware of how to use Narcan. His name is Winton, and he's working on that project for the next couple of weeks. So again, if there are council members that are interested in participating in the project or community members, please get in touch with me. And then finally, thank you to the HR department for their work on Youth in Government Week. Myself, the mayor, Alders Latase, and Alder Lepper all participated in a quick Q&A with middle school students. And it's great to do that every year and have young people exposed to different career paths in city council, as well as just understanding how our city works.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Dave?
We're still looking for volunteers for the LA Drive Duns Marsh, that Joe mentioned. We will have a street. Please come and see the street mural that we're getting painted. I've had, I think Chad and Tim are aware, complaints from the TDS installs. I had a neighbor, they had bored a hole in his driveway and they didn't patch it well, and I asked him to first deal with the customer service rep from TDS, and if not, to call me. And but I can tell by the mayor's chuckle that this isn't the first time this has happened. We've heard about a lot of these. And second, I just finished. I made my annual sauerkraut, my 3 gallons. I have curing at my house, and I believe it is a state law that you have to have sauerkraut if you eat a bratwurst. And I'll be introducing a resolution to outlaw vegan brats in Fitchburg. I just find that the state's law. Nothing against vegans, but bratwurst, plenty of great vegan food, but bratwurst shouldn't be included. Just my personal view, Bill. That's all.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave, Jake and I were just chuckling because we're. Oh, sorry, Jake and I were just chuckling because we're glad that TDS has moved out of District 4 and into District 1.
I just wanted to mention one more thing in the report. So I had a resident reach out to me asking when Crescent Road will be done. The paving will be done in a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to have more information on that, you can go to the city's website on the specific part of the website about annual street resurfacing, and it'll give you dates on the project. You can also sign up for updates. So that's right by the house, and I'm glad that project's going to be done soon, because it's a beautiful road to drive on and to bike on.
Thank you, Joe. Next, we are in announcement. I forgot to make a couple of announcements. One is there is going to be a pinning ceremony for the police department on 8/31st. What is that? Monday? 1:30. A couple of, I think it's Captain Logan Brown and their promotion and other officers. So I hope you can attend that ceremony. And then you mentioned about the youth government. I want to say congratulate Sarah and her team because they do this event every year and it's very popular. And so I enjoyed the meeting today with the young people. And then if I don't see you, I want to wish you a very good Labor Day, okay? Because I think our next council meeting is coming after that, so happy Labor Day, Feliz Día del Trabajador in Español. What is the announcement for Committee of the Whole?
Committee of the Whole is tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. We will have a discussion on municipal budgeting and budget priorities. Our other topic fell through, so blessedly we only have one topic. So it should be, hopefully, I don't want to say anything about the length of the meeting. That never goes well. Yeah. So it'll be one topic. I will also say that I'm looking forward to future meetings, and our November meeting is scheduled for the day before Thanksgiving. Oh. And I would like to move it, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay. But definitely come with your calendars. I was thinking maybe either the week prior or potentially even the first week of December, since we typically cancel our second our Committee of the Whole in December. So come ready with your calendars for that discussion tomorrow. Thank you.
Next Common Council meeting will be September 8th. So I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor of adjourning the meeting at, 9:12, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Buenas noches.